how did it feel at least knowing that you were inspiring essentially like your people, like all throughout like South America? Like how did that feel?
My people.
Well, like, you know what I'm talking about, just like Spanish people in general, like.
Yeah, I mean, I get some recognition here and there. I mean, of course, to our fans, you know, they think differently. They you know, obviously Fear Factory fans who over the years, you know, to them, I'm big to them, but to everybody else, in some ways, I'm not. And in a way that's kind of good, because I never lost that hunger to really try to push forward and try to expose what I do to as many people as possible, and to talk about trying to get people, you know, in the hands of my tone of what I do. That's why I'm glad that, you know, JST gave me a chance, it gave me a shot. And here we are, we got the Disruptor coming out, and everybody's gonna be able to have a piece of what I do right in front of them. Very accessible. And I think it's cool being, you know, Latino and being, you know, of Mexican descent, that I'm able to travel in those other countries, and I feel at home. Honestly, I feel at home when I go to those countries. Every time I get there, it's like, I just feel like, you know, I'm still that kid growing up in El Centro, California, you know, right on the Mexican border. And I love it. And I love, you know, talking about my nationality. I have bands that we sing all in Spanish, Asesino and Brujeria, that we sing all in Spanish. And I love that. And I love exposing my culture of who I am. And luckily we have guys like Jose Mangin from Sirius XM, who's also Latino, who really likes to express his culture and really likes to give us Latino a shot on the radio. You know, like Booyah, they're Puerto Rican, right? You know, and then you got guys like the band King, who are Latinos, and then you got myself and Max from Brazil, and he really champions all those Latino artists and tries to expose them more on Sirius XM, so people around the world can hear who we are and what we do.
Because before you were telling me about a couple people that had the 8-string like slightly before you, but you kind of popularized using an 8-string, and especially to like South America, like all the people in that region that were into heavy music started playing 8-strings because of you. And how do you feel about that? Like having inspired a whole generation of people to play in the style that you play, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
What you play.
Back in 2004, Ibanez made these prototypes of these 8-strings. I know I got one, Meshuggah got one, and but I know I believe Meshuggah might have been playing it before that. But there was a video that I had made at the time. This is like in 2004 or 2000. Yeah, it might have been maybe a year after that. That got like millions of views. And I remember the first time that I met Tosin Abassi. I didn't know who he was at the time, but he came up to me, and I'm like, and he was wearing like a fedora hat, and he was dressed very preppy, and I was like, bruh. And he came up to me and he goes, "You're Dino Cazares, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're the only person I know that has more views than me." I'm like, "What is he talking about?" I had no idea what he was talking about until later on. I figured it out because I had more YouTube views than he did on an 8-string. But whatever. But I just thought it was funny. I never felt like I popularized 8-string at all. I think Meshuggah was more of a band that popularized the 8-string and a particular style. I just do what I do. I try not to be competitive with other bands or musicians or nothing like that. I just do what I do, and if people recognize me for what I do, then that's great. If they don't, then I try to let them know.